Games, Music, and Witches in New York City by
Allison Bigelow,
Wen Yao Q,
and Sachel Tangonin for the Macaulay Honors College Common Event on May 11, 2013.
What we researched. We analyzed how different specialty organizations manage their employees and how the employees affect the organizations.
This topic is important because it allows us to observe how organizations preserve tradition, preserve culture, and subcultures in New York City, and what characteristics of an organization are unique and how those affect the organization's survival.
Our thesis for this presentation is that the specialty organizations in New York City are able to economically survive through the use of Fayol's administrative theory and the uniqueness of the store specialization.
There are two main perspectives in sociology, the rational systems perspective and the natural systems perspective.
Fayol's administrative theory lies under the rational systems perspective. There are two main tenets in Fayol's administrative theory: coordination and specialization. There are four parts to Fayol's coordination: pyramidal hierarchy, unity of command, span of control, and the exception principle. Pyramidal hierarchy states that there is a hierarchy of positions within the organization. Unity of the command states that employees take commands from no more than one superior. Span of control says that no superior should have more employees than they can handle, and the exception principle states that routines are handled by subordinates, while superiors handle exceptional situations. There are two parts to Fayol's specialization: departmentalization and the line staff principle. Departmentalization is the idea that related activities are grouped together in one unit. For example, in many universities, there are different departments for each major. The line staff principle states that there are two types of activities in the organization: line activities and staff activities. Line activities are those that are directly concerned with organizational goals. Staff activities include advice, service, and support.
Selznick's institutionalization approach states that organizations are shaped by their participants and the external environment. This falls under the natural systems perspective. What this means is that organizations develop informal practices that appeal to their patrons and the people who actually work in that institution and the external environment in which they exist.
These are our research methods for the observations that we conducted for this presentation. For the music store, I conducted two 60 to 90-minute covert observations over the time period from February 2013 to April 2013. The music store is an international organization that sells music instruments and music equipment. One of the unique limitations that I encountered when I was conducting my observations was that it was often hard to hear employee conversations because other people were trying out instruments.
I observed the occult store in two 45 to 100-minute covert observations from February 2013 to March 2013. The occult store is a small business, and it sells items used for witchcraft and other various New Age practices. The unique benefits of observing this organization is that it is a small store with a small number of employees, making it easier to observe their interactions with people and how their routines go. It also has a very calming sense of community, which helps in the interactions between employees and patrons because they feel more comfortable with each other and interact more often. Unique limitations to observing the occult store is that there is very little hierarchical structure to observe, and the employees can be very exclusive in who they spend a lot of their time communicating with, typically favoring those they know and frequent customers.
For the game store, I conducted two 60-minute covert observations. The time period covered was from February 2013 to March 2013. The gaming store is an international gaming company which specializes in producing gaming systems and games. The store itself is a two-floor building, with the first floor devoted to handheld system demos and the second floor to home entertainment systems. Some unique limitations that I encountered while conducting my observations was that the customers were preoccupied with the demonstrations that they barely interacted with the employees. And since the store is located in a tourist spot, many tourists would go in the store and take a look and leave with not much interactions.
There were some common benefits and limitations to all three of our observations. One common benefit was that we were all able to observe the natural behavior of the employees and customers because we were all posing as customers and took covert observations. Some of the common limitations that we faced when we were all conducting our observations is that our observations are all subjected to our own bias, and we all often had to make assumptions about the responsibilities of employees and the managers and some of the interactions between employees, managers, and customers. So how do they fit? There were two examples of fails administrative theory that I found in the music store. Firstly, managers were working in a separate room. This exhibits coordination because it shows that the employees had different responsibilities and that managers also had different responsibilities from floor employees. In terms of specialization, the store was divided into sections according to instruments. For example, there was a guitar section, a bass section, a drum section, and a recording section. There are two examples of Selznick's institutionalization in the music store. Firstly, the employees wore mostly black clothing, which gave them a sense of character and gave them a sense of uniformity. Secondly, most of the employees were also practicing musicians or avid music lovers, so they could offer whatever personal experience they had, and they could also offer their own personal services or recommendations to services if customers needed.
For the occult store, it fits under Fayol's administrative theory and under the coordination subhead because there is no manager present. And employees are left to run the store on their own. It fits under the specialization subheading because the store is divided into sections by products such as incense, candles, mortar and pestles, tarot cards, and cauldrons. It fits under Selznick institutionalization model because all of the employees are practicing witches. This means that they have an expertise on all of the items sold in the store and can teach budding witches how to use the different things that they sell in the store. Another way that it fits under Selznick's institutionalization approach is that cats were present in the store, which gives it a unique, almost quirky vibe that can attract people back to the store. There were 2 black cats and 1 white cat, and it fits the stereotype that witches love cats.
For the game store, here are 2 characteristics that fall under Fayol's administrative theory. For coordination, there were no manager present on the working floor, and the floor staff are in charge of their own routines, such as asking customers if they need help, checking out customers, and doing inventory. For specialization, the store is divided into sections according to game consoles, with the first floor dedicated to handheld systems and the second floor to home entertainment systems. Under Selznick's institutionalization, employees wore name cards and a uniform, which is a black t-shirt with characters from the games produced by this company printed on their t-shirts. The employees also have a game expertise, which means that they can play games with the customer if the customer asks, and they can also help customers pick out games and have some recommendations. Here is how we predicted the survival of our organizations based on our observations.
For the music store, one interesting characteristic of the music store was that customers were able to try out any instrument on site. This helps attract members and patrons into the store because of the availability of such a large variety of products. Another characteristic of the music store was that there were professionals on site that could help customers with repair and maintenance of equipment or instruments, which offered a unique service that other music stores do not necessarily have.
For the game store, the store is designed such that it provides a branding experience than a retail store. Customers are able to come in and then experience all the products the store has to offer. It brings the customers into their brand and thus have customers that can support their brand and support their products.
For the occult store, the store is very unique in what it sells and also because it is for witches and there are cats. There is virtually no competition. There are other stores in the city that work with spirituality, but the existence of a store quite like the occult store that I observed is non-existent within New York City.
Overall, the game store and music store can survive anywhere since they are such large organizations and they have enough resources to survive on their own. The survival of the occult store is unique to New York City because it would be harder to survive in a smaller city, and they need the diversity of New York City to have enough patrons to survive. In a large city like New York City, people wouldn't care as much about people being witches as opposed to people being witches in a small town.
These are the projected effects on the customers that our organizations have. The organizations that we studied are able to provide a unique experience to the customers that customers cannot necessarily find anywhere else. For example, for the music store, there are few stores that allow customers to have access to such a wide variety of instruments and equipment. Secondly, our organizations help customers develop their interests. For example, people who want to play music could go to the music store to explore and learn more about their new interests.
The contributions to New York City. The survival of specialty organizations is critical to New York City because New York City is known for its diverse population. Under that diverse population, there are hundreds of different cultures and subcultures that make New York City what it is. The open-mindedness of this diverse population makes it possible for the specialty organizations to survive and thrive within the city.
Thank you for listening to our presentation.